Hey there, horror fans. Ever heard of Death Valley? No, not the actual place. The 1982 horror thriller that's equal parts creepy and criminally underrated. Directed by Dick Richards and starring Paul Le Mat, Catherine Hicks, and a young Peter Billingsley, yep, the kid from A Christmas Story, this one's a hidden gem that deserves a spotlight. Here's the deal. Billy, played by Billingsley, is on a road trip through the desert with his mom, Hicks, and her new boyfriend, Le Mat. Sounds normal enough, right? Wrong. While exploring an abandoned trailer, Billy stumbles on something he really shouldn't have. Evidence tied to a brutal serial killer. And guess what? The killer's watching. Before they know it, the family's being stalked across the scorching, unforgiving desert. Cue suspenseful music. This isn't your typical 80s slasher flick. Sure, it's got the tension and thrills, but it leans more on psychological horror and that eerie, someone's watching you vibe. The cinematography? Stunning. The performances? Solid, especially from young Billingsley. It's a slow burn, but trust us, it's worth it. Now, here's the kicker. Death Valley wasn't a box office hit back in the day, but it's since gained a cult following. With a fan score of 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb, it's polarizing. But isn't that what makes horror so fun? And guess what? You can stream it right now for free on Plex. So grab some popcorn, turn off the lights, and let Death Valley take you on a chilling desert ride. Death Valley, out there, no one can hear you scream. Stream it now on Plex. Hey, movie fans! Let's take a trip back to the glitzy, high-tension world of 1982 with The Seduction, a steamy, suspenseful, erotic thriller that's equal parts glamour and obsession. Here's the rundown. Jamie Douglas, played by the iconic Morgan Fairchild, is a glamorous TV news anchor living the high life in LA. But her world gets turned upside down when Derek, Andrew Stevens, a dangerously obsessive photographer, starts stalking her. What begins with creepy gifts and phone calls quickly spirals into full-blown terror, break-ins, hidden cameras, and violent attacks. Despite Jamie's pleas for help, the police don't take her seriously because, hey, it's the early 80s and stalking laws were practically non-existent. So she's left to face Derek alone, leading to a nail-biting showdown where she fights for her life. Directed by David Schmuller, Tourist Trap, The Seduction was one of the first mainstream films to tackle the theme of stalking. It's got that glossy 80s aesthetic we all love. Think big hair, even bigger shoulder pads, and a soundtrack that screams neon-lit drama. Sure, critics weren't kind when it first came out, but over time it's gained a cult following. Why? Because it's got Morgan Fairchild at her absolute best, Andrew Stevens delivering creepy vibes, and a story that keeps you on the edge of your seat. The film was produced by Irwin Yablans, the same guy behind Halloween, 1978. So you know it's got some serious thriller cred behind it. Right now, The Seduction is streaming for free on Tubi. That's right, no subscription needed. Just grab some popcorn, dim the lights, and dive into this stylish, suspenseful throwback. Whether you're a fan of 80s thrillers, obsessed with Morgan Fairchild's glamour, or just love a good stalker story, The Seduction is a must-watch. Stream it now on Tubi and prepare to be seduced by the drama. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Shoot the Moon, a raw, emotional drama from 1982 that'll hit you right in the feels. Directed by Alan Parker, with a killer screenplay by Bo Goldman, this one stars Albert Finney and Diane Keaton as George and Faith Dunlap, a married couple who are not having a good time. Picture this, Marin County, California. George is a successful writer, but his marriage, it's a mess. Thanks to his infidelity, he and Faith are headed for divorce. And with 4 kids caught in the middle, things get complicated. As they split, emotions run wild. Faith starts seeing a new guy, a contractor no less, while George, he's spiraling. Jealousy, anger, regret, you name it, he's feeling it. The movie dives deep into the chaos of divorce, those moments of rage, longing, and even a little tenderness. And that climax? Let's just say it's intense and completely unforgettable. Here's why Shoot the Moon is a must-watch. Real talk about divorce. This isn't your sugar-coated Hollywood breakup. It's messy, painful, and real. Incredible acting. Finney and Keaton. They're at the top of their game here. Finney even snagged a Golden Globe nomination. Gorgeous cinematography, Michael Sarrazin's work, stunning, and Marvin Hamlish's score perfectly sets the mood. When it came out in January 1982, Shoot the Moon didn't exactly crush the box office. But don't let that fool you, critics loved it, and fans still call it an underrated gem. It's got an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 6.810 on IMDb. And guess what? You can stream it right now on Google Play and other rental services. So grab some popcorn, settle in, and get ready for a movie that'll stick with you long after the credits roll. Shoot the Moon, because sometimes love hurts, and that's worth watching. All right, buckle up, because we're diving into the gritty, neon-soaked streets of 1980s Los Angeles with Vice Squad. Directed by Gary Sherman, this crime thriller is a wild ride through the city's seedy underbelly, fast-paced, intense, and packed with raw energy. Here's the deal. The story kicks off with a brutal pimp named Ramrod, played by the unforgettable Wings Hauser. This guy is pure nightmare fuel. After he viciously murders one of his girls, the LAPD Vice Squad steps in, led by Detective Tom Walsh, Gary Swanson. Enter Princess, Season Hubley, a prostitute who's forced to team up with the cops to bring Ramrod down. She becomes the bait in a dangerous plan to trap him. But, and here's where things get really intense, Ramrod escapes custody. Now he's on a rampage, hell-bent on revenge, and Princess is fighting for her life. What follows is a heart-pounding game of cat and mouse that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. It's a dark, unflinching look at the dangerous world of street prostitution, with Hauser stealing the show as one of the most terrifying villains of the 80s. Oh, and fun fact, Hauser also performed the film's theme song, Neon Slime, which sets the tone perfectly for this gritty ride. Over the years, Vice Squad has gained a cult following for its raw, exploitation-style storytelling and intense action. Critics were split back in the day. It's got a 60% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 6.410 on IMDb. But fans of gritty crime thrillers love it. Here's the best part. You can stream Vice Squad right now for free on the Tubi app. So if you're in the mood for a no-holds-barred, adrenaline-pumping throwback, this one's for you. Don't miss it. Check out Vice Squad today. Hey there, movie lovers! Got a thing for spine-chilling thrillers? Well, we've got a blast from the past for you. A Stranger is Watching, a psychological horror thriller from 1982, directed by Sean S. Cunningham. Yep, the same guy behind Friday the 13th. This flick is based on Mary Higgins Clark's 1977 novel and features some standout performances from Rip Torn, Kate Mulgrew, Sean von Schreiber, and James Norton. Let's dive into the plot. Picture this. A young girl named Julie, played by Sean von Schreiber, and a journalist called Sharon, played by Kate Mulgrew, are abducted by a deranged killer, Artie Taggart. That's Rip Torn for you. He's got them trapped in the creepy underground tunnels of Grand Central Station. It's a high-stakes game of cat and mouse, as Julie's dad, Steve Peterson, James Norton, races to find them before it's too late. Unlike your typical slasher flicks from the same era, A Stranger is Watching is all about getting into your head. It's a psychological horror that amps up the suspense through tense atmospheres and the chilling confines of those underground tunnels. When it first hit theaters, the movie got mixed reviews. Some folks were not too thrilled about its execution compared to the book, which didn't do much for its box office numbers either, pulling in only $2.5 million on a $3 million budget. Still, Rip Torn's portrayal of the creepy kidnapper stood out, and over time it's gotten a bit of a cult following among 80s horror fans. Critics haven't been super vocal on Rotten Tomatoes, but over on IMDb, viewers have given it a 5.4 out of 10. So why not check it out yourself? You can catch A Stranger Is Watching on streaming rental services like Google Play. Grab some popcorn, dim the lights, and prepare for some old school suspense. Hey, ever heard of The Border? It's this gritty 1982 neo-noir crime drama that's got everything: corruption, morality, and some serious border drama. Directed by Tony Richardson and starring Jack Nicholson alongside Harvey Keitel and Valerie Perrine, it's a movie that'll stick with you. So here's the deal. Nicholson plays Charlie Smith, a US Border Patrol agent who moves to El Paso, Texas, with his wife Marcy, played by Valerie Perrine. Marcy's all about that flashy lifestyle and pushes Charlie to keep up with their new neighbours, including Kat, Harvey Keitel, a shady officer neck deep in a smuggling operation. Charlie's just going through the motions at first, but then he stumbles into the dark underbelly of human trafficking and corruption within his own department. Things get real when he befriends Maria, Elpidia Carrillo, a young Mexican woman, and her baby. Determined to help them, Charlie's moral compass kicks in, setting him on a collision course with Kat and his criminal crew. Let's just say it gets intense. Here's the vibe of the film. It's a mix of crime drama, social realism, and neo-noir, all wrapped up in a story about doing the right thing in a pretty messed up world. Nicholson's performance? Absolute fire. He's restrained but powerful, showing a guy wrestling with his conscience in the worst of circumstances. Okay, fun fact time. Did you know this movie was almost directed by Sam Peckinpah? Yeah, the Wild Bunch guy. Peckinpah was supposed to helm it, but creative differences and health issues led to him being swapped out for Tony Richardson. If Peckinpah had stayed on, you can bet it would have been even darker and more brutal. Another cool tidbit: Nicholson took a major pay cut to star in this. He was at the top of his game back then, but he believed in the film's message so much that he took less cash and even hung out with real Border Patrol agents to nail his role. That's dedication. When The Border hit theatres on January 29, 1982, it didn't exactly set the box office on fire. It made less than half of its $13.5 million budget. Ouch. But critics were mostly into it, praising Nicholson and the film's gritty realism. These days, it's got a 65% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 6.4 fan rating on IMDb. If you're curious, you can catch The Border on streaming platforms like Amazon Prime and Google Play. Trust me, it's worth a watch, especially if you're into crime dramas with a moral punch. So grab some popcorn, hit play, and get ready for a wild ride along the border. All right, horror fans, buckle up because we're diving into Venom, the 1982 British horror thriller that's equal parts crime, suspense, and creature terror. Directed by Piers Haggard, this flick is a wild ride you won't want to miss. Here's the deal. A group of criminals, led by ex-Nazi Jacques Müller, played by the intense Klaus Kinski, tries to kidnap the grandson of a wealthy Londoner. But guess what? Their plan goes sideways real fast when a deadly black mamba snake is accidentally delivered to the house. Oh, and it gets loose. Suddenly, the kidnappers, the cops, and everyone else in the house are trapped. Not just with each other, but with a highly venomous predator slithering around. What starts as a hostage situation turns into a full-on battle for survival. Spoiler: the Mamba doesn't play nice. The cast, seriously stacked. You've got Klaus Kinski bringing his signature brand of crazy, Oliver Reed as the chauffeur, Susan George as the maid, and Sarah Miles as a doctor trying to keep everyone alive. Plus, Sterling Hayden rounds out the chaos as Howard Anderson. Behind the scenes, it's just as wild. Kinski and Reed were known for their explosive tempers, and yeah, they did not get along. Oh, and fun fact, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre director Tobe Hooper was originally on board, but left early due to creative differences. Enter Piers Haggard to steer this snake-infested ship. What's the verdict? Critics were split at the time. Some loved the tension and unpredictability, while others weren't feeling the pacing. But over the years, Venom has gained a cult following, especially among fans of animal horror. Why watch it? If you're into claustrophobic thrillers with a side of terror, and let's be real, who isn't? Venom delivers. The Black Mamba is a legitimately terrifying antagonist, and the combo of Kinski and Reed, pure chaotic energy. The numbers: Venom opened on January 29th, 1982 and raked in $5.2 million at the box office. Critics give it a 43% on Rotten Tomatoes, but fans on IMDb rate it a solid 5.8 out of 10. Ready to watch? The film is streaming for free on the Tubi app, so grab some popcorn, keep an eye on the floor, and dive into this snake-filled nightmare. Trust us, it's a bite you won't regret.